Meccha Chameleon is the current indie sensation right now, hitting numbers that indie devs could only dream of hitting. It's a simple hide-and-seek game where the gimmick is to paint yourself to blend in with the vibe, and it already has like a gazillion Roblox ripoffs, and there are more people playing those ripoffs than the actual game. And you want to know what the worst part of all this is? The official game released on June 10th, 2026, yet many of these ripoffs have a release date before that date, meaning that most of these ripoffs were spawned from the depths of hell just from the playtest that happened like a month prior, before, you know, the game was even remotely on anyone's radar. Suffice to say, I don't think these games should exist. But hold your horses, or almost if you will, because to really understand if the Roblox games releasing early compared to the actual game is that bad, we should probably look to see if the games are even actually different in the first place. And yes, I know that the thumbnails of the Roblox games look like literal TeamU versions of the original game. You know, let's give them the benefit of the doubt, okay? There is a non-zero chance that these games are just inspired by Meccha Chameleon, or what I like to call them yoink and twist of Meccha Chameleon. Kind of like how Valorant is a yoink and twist of Counter-Strike in the sense that it's Counter-Strike but with anime, and you don't have to deal with this. So just give me a small moment to play the top copies of Meccha Chameleon on Roblox, and I'll get back to you in just like, I don't know, one SpongeBob time card.
A few moments later.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest. Surprisingly, the ripoffs have added a lot to the original game. Just not in any part touching the gameplay, and all in monetization, or in other words, it's all in the wrong places. So I played 3 Roblox ripoffs: Chameleon, and Paint or Seek. And I'm just gonna give you the clip notes. Imagine Meccha Chameleon, but tons of microtransactions, gambling, and AI generated. Yeah, doesn't sound very good, does it? But to be honest, I did have some fun moments. Yo, there's no fucking way, bro.
What are you aiming at? What are you aiming at?
Come on, bro. Bro. Yeah, and those fun moments always happen to be me bullying some kid playing on their iPad, which is the problem. Not the bullying kids part. No, I would argue that I'm actually doing the world a favor with that one. No, the thing I said before, I shouldn't be having fun with this game. It isn't a yoink and a twist. I would argue it's closer to yoink and make more cancer. So I looked at the Meccha Chameleon player accounts and was like, damn, okay, doing good. But then I looked at the Roblox player accounts and I'm like, sadly, Meccha Chameleon is a victim of the threat that is the Roblox dev. But there's more indie victims, bro. Just look at the title, man. Lethal Company? Shitty Roblox ripoff. Repo? Shitty Roblox ripoff. Balatro? Steal a wait a second. You're not supposed to be here. Classic Roblox. And there's still like a bunch of fucking examples left to pick from. And don't forget that these are Roblox games. You can't have a Roblox game without a fuck ton of microtransactions, baby. Whoa! Like I said, I hate these games. They shouldn't exist. I think that we should delete all the games, then round up all the devs who make these games, and then tie an anchor to them, and then just chuck them into the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Oops. That's not child-friendly. What he meant to say was that he doesn't like these type of games, just like the developer of Peak. And no, not Peak in the sense of this. Peak is a co-op game where you try to climb a mountain. I think. I've never played it before, but the dev has come out and clearly stated they'd rather you pirate the game than play the Roblox microtransaction riddled ripoff slop. Which is so funny because this isn't about making money, this is about sending a message to these fucking vultures. So it's clear that many people, including both the game devs and little old me, really hate these Roblox bootlegs. But why? Because I've never really explained to you, presumably the average gamer trademark should dislike these games, as they only really serve as a way to give you a free alternative to a paid, albeit very cheap game. And as things are never black and white, there are points as to why these games are good, or at the very least, not super terrible. For starters, despite the fact that these Roblox ripoffs have way more visitors, they don't really cannibalize players from the real games. What I mean is that most of the people playing the Roblox ripoffs were people who probably wouldn't have ever bought the real game anyways. For example, people from poorer countries like Vietnam, just like my cousins, who basically only play Roblox not because they want to, but because they don't really have an alternative. Not just poorer countries either. Your family could be from the US and still not have enough money to justify buying games. Hell, your parents could be fine financially, but if they don't give you the money to buy games, then you're not gonna buy it. So, hell, might as well just play it on Roblox, right? Or the simplest explanation, you might have not just given a shit about the game in the first place and just decided to try it out on Roblox for fun. And also, it's obvious when you just look at the amount of copies sold. Remember when I showed off how Meccha Chameleon sold this amount of copies? Well, do some math and this is probably the amount of money they've made. Yep. Suffice to say, I think they've made their money. And like I said earlier, these games give a free alternative to people who just can't justify buying a video game, and like a wise man once said, culture shouldn't exist only for those who can afford it. Yet despite these positive arguments, I still think that we should nuke the game out of existence, round up all the devs, tie them to an anchor. Okay, enough of the anchor bit. Why do I hate them and why should you hate them? For starters, it's clear to us that these games are uninspired slop. And when games like these succeed, it sends a message to potential devs. Why put in the effort to make something original when you can just copy something that already exists? Which then leads to even more slop, and that even further drowns out anything that is even worth actually playing. Not to mention that this is what kids nowadays are playing, and I've made a whole video on why I'd rather them not play it. And then going back to the point about how these bootlegs offer a free alternative to popular trending games. That was bait, because it's not as if you have to copy the games one for one. Remember the yoink and twist? Also, because there are so many ripoffs on this platform, whenever I play a game that I actually think is pretty fun, there's always this lingering thought in the back of my head that's like, is this just a ripoff of a real game that's actually just better? If you're a Roblox dev that actually tries to make games, you should fucking hate these devs because they're just making you look bad. But I think the worst of it is, which ties all the way back to the comments that I made about how the ripoffs come out before the official release. Well, I'm able to talk about it because Meccha Chameleon blew up and is trending, but not all indie games are fortunate enough to share that fate. Who's to say that there isn't plenty of indie games that have a beta, some shit vulture Roblox dev sees it, copies it, and even achieves success with the bootleg while the original dev's game never sees the attention it deserves. Not gonna lie, kinda cringe. In simple terms, this is all just theft. And not just theft, this is theft of like some small indie dev. It's one thing if you steal from like fucking EA, bro, fuck EA. But it's another thing if you steal from some poor indie dev, like come on, bro, really? So yup, these ripoffs suck, I hate them, and I hope they disappear, and I hope the devs anchor, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. But let's be real, as much as I want these games to disappear, they're never gonna go away. The people playing these games just don't care, specifically the kids, because they're fucking kids, I don't really expect them to give a shit in the first place. I just wish that instead of just being one-for-one ripoffs, that these games tried to be their own things that are at most just similar to what they are referencing. Kind of like how League of Legends is to Dota.
Hey, did you know that Riot recently brought back League of Legends Classic? That's right, if you've ever wondered what League was like before every champion had a novel-length passive, now's your chance to find out. League of Legends Classic brings back the original Summoner's Rift, the old item shop, and the simpler—
Did you know that this guy isn't even paid to say all this shit? How about instead of checking out this mid-ass game, how about you check out my other videos instead? That would just be such a great thing. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.